I knew something was up. Yes.
Okay, we can start with the Pledge of Allegiance, a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Okay, this meeting is being recorded for informational purposes only. All comments will be taken at the end of the meeting. If anyone has a question or comment, raise your hand. You will be recognized by the chairman. State your name and your address for the record and come to the podium. Multiple speakers at the same time will not be allowed. Thank you.
Start with the roll call. Chairman Trustee Michael Hovis here. Vice Chairman Trustee Bob McBride.
Here.
Trustee Michael Morelli. Fiscal Officer Stacy Morley.
Here.
Under correspondence, we have letters from the Trumbull County sanitary engineer regarding the Elm Road Waterline Improvement Project that is in the process of going to be starting here within this week. We also have a letter from the Zoning Commission regarding Ohio Issue 2. We'll open with the first resolution, 087-24, resolution to accept the meeting minutes from the trustees' regular meeting on July 9th, 2024, and special meeting August 1st, 2024.
Make the motion.
I'll second it. Take the vote. Trustee McBride?
Yes.
Trustee Hovis? Yes. 088-24, resolution to authorize the fiscal office to pay all outstanding invoices and approve all warrants incurred from August 14th, 2024 through September 10th, 2024.
Make the motion.
Second it. Take the vote. Trustee McBride?
Yes.
Trustee Hovis? Yes. God bless you. Excuse me. 089-24, resolution to authorize the fiscal office to amend the 2024 appropriations as follows.
Make the motion.
I'll second it. Take the vote. Trustee McBride?
Yes.
Trustee Hovis? Yes. 090-24, resolution to prohibit adult use cannabis operators, cultivator, processors, and dispensaries, and medical marijuana cultivators, processors, and dispensaries within the unincorporated area of Bazetta Township, Trumbull County. And you can see the attached resolution.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it. Take the vote. Trustee McBride?
Yes.
Trustee Hovis? Yes. Move on to the fire department. Chief Rank.
Thank you. I just have my agenda items. My monthly report, we ran 155 calls last month. We did 3 public events, 56 hours of training, and 27 inspections. And I just had a couple things I wanted to bring up. Last month, we've been listing a bunch of miscellaneous equipment, outdated equipment on gov deals. Last week, we made $2,899. We're going to be listing a lot more stuff, so just think before May 1, keep an eye out gov deals. We've been doing a lot of training since last meeting on our ESO reporting system. Firefighter Hanson's been working nonstop, getting the training videos for us and programming this with all of our data. He's been doing a great job on it. It should be up and running. By the end of the year, we'll be using it 100%. We're going to start putting runs in now, start getting used to it, and work out all the bugs. A couple weeks ago, we received 2 grants totaling $82,917. They're on the agenda for you guys to approve. We saved the taxpayer a lot of money on that. I believe it cost us, our portion was $1,100, $1,131. So just wanted to make note of that. And last month during the fair, I'd like to thank Mecca Fire Department, Youngstown Air Base Fire Department, Champion Fire Department. They helped us out with the week of the fair, and all of our guys, they all stepped up. We covered the first aid station that whole entire week. Didn't have any major incidents over there. We treated over 144 patients at the fair that week. So I just want to thank everybody. So I got.
Chief, if you could pass on to Captain Pelly that I did receive a phone call from the Fair Board president about how professional he handled the operations over there. As far as getting everybody on the same sheet of music, having their debriefings and briefings every day.
Yeah, we are scheduling our post-fair incident review with them also. So I'll keep you posted on that. Thank you.
Very good. Bob, anything for Chief Ray?
I do, Chief. I think that when you go to this with Mike and the Fair Board, they need to set up some type of command station or with a number out there. Because when I was out there in the pavilion there, the sign came down and hit this guy in the head. It from a high wind blew and half of it came down and knocked him in the head. And there's like no, other than running down to trying to find anybody, or you go underneath, that they could have at least some of the people who have vendors and have an emergency number that goes to a certain place, whether it's in the sheriff's office, where they can dispatch someone. I mean, we had a hard time getting even the sheriff's department to come over there. And then I told them, I told the sheriff's department guys that showed up on a golf cart that I said, this guy wants to file a report. And they just looked at me. But the big sign came down, half of it swung down there, and it was one of the guys that was getting ready to perform for the music. And there was just like I mean, honestly, I didn't know where you guys were at anyone. You need some type of, that you could call a number. Every vendor should have that number, emergency number, where go to one central place to dispatch someone to. I mean, it was just like, you know, where the venue center is, where and then it was just, if this guy would have been more serious, this would have been a serious problem.
I'll make a note of it.
Yeah.
Bring it up to them.
But thank you, Chief.
Stacy, anything for Chief Ray? Thank you, Chief. Move on to 091-24, resolution to accept a grant from the Ohio Office of Budget and Management, the Ohio Ambulance Impact Industry Program, in the amount of $59,161. This grant is used for employee retention, employee recruitment, and training with no matching funds from the fire department.
Make the motion.
I'll second it. Take the vote. Trustee McBride?
Yes.
Trustee Hovis? Yes. 092-24, resolution to accept the FEMA 2023 Assistance to Firefighters Grant in the amount of $23,756. This grant is used for the replacement of fire hose. The fire department will be responsible for $1,131.24 of the grant to be paid from the fire fund.
Make the motion.
I'll second it. Take a vote. Trustee McBride?
Yes.
Trustee Hovis? Yes. 093-24, resolution to accept the resignation letter from Kyle Stern effective July 17th, 2024.
Make the motion.
I'll second it. Take the vote. Trustee McBride?
Yes.
Trustee Hovis? Yes. 094-24, resolution to promote Brian Schatz from part-time firefighter/paramedic to a full-time firefighter/paramedic with a hire date of August 18th, 2024. Pay rate and probationary period will be per the current collective bargaining agreement of the International Association of Firefighters, Local 3703. Brian has a OP&F pension fiscal already on file.
Make the motion.
I'll second it. Take the vote. Trustee McBride?
Yes.
Trustee Hovis? Yes.
Thank you.
Move on to the police department. Sergeant Greathouse?
We have the two resolutions, one for the money to get updated with our current computer system to be compliant with leads. Then the resolution for the new cruiser.
Sergeant Greathouse?
I do not. Thank you.
Stacy, anything for Sergeant Greenhouse? Okay, thank you, Nate. 095-24, resolution to accept the Sundance Systems quote 20240702A for $3,440 for leads MFA compliance mandated in October 2024 by the leads/FBI to be paid from the account 2081-210-360-0000.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it. Take the vote. Trustee McBride?
Yes.
Trustee Hovis? Yes. 096-24, to accept the quote from Mark Thomas Ford for the purchase of a new 2025 Police Interceptor utility SUV with the following bin for $47,775.08 to be paid from the Police Equipment Fund 2082-210-750-0000.
Make the motion.
I'll second it. I'll take the vote. Trustee McBride?
Yes.
Trustee Hovis? Yes. On to the road department, Superintendent Arnold.
Got the second round of spraying down on all township properties. We had a guy come in and grant himself at the cemetery from all the storm damage over the last few years. You guys are still working on the grant for the paving of the roads up to the cemetery. We got the driveway sealed from Blacktop down a Quail Run. Last year they sealed the guy's driveway where it was starting to peel apart a little bit. So they took chili and sand, took care of the guy and patched him pretty good. So I got for this meeting.
Okay. Well, beginning for,
Mike, have you received any quotes for the paving down there?
No, they have, I think I got a couple of them. I haven't seen them. He's in on all the grants and all that, and again, that determined it, so. He did have a couple guys come out.
How big of an area is it, about 100 foot long or?
One guy was gonna go a little farther, he said he'd kind of help us out, I guess, but when I know about Blacktop, he ain't gonna go very far, $5,000.
yeah.
But that hill's washed out pretty good. We put cold patch in and grindings to keep the cars from bottoming out.
Yeah.
Tearing the vehicles up.
Are we just looking to just use just that 5,000, or is, Stacy, do we have any other money we could add to that from the cemetery budget? How much it is?
The grant's gonna be 2,500. We did a match.
check, okay.
We did a match of 2,500. But it doesn't mean we can't do more.
Yeah.
Later on as we go.
Well, we did have, actually, Mike, I did have, just for the public to know too, we had bids on the stump removal. We did stumps down at the cemetery that we had done. One bid was over $2,000. It came in, I think, $675 to do the same amount. We saved them over half the amount of money. We saved more money down there by just having to get that another bid on there for the cemetery, just to let you know. Okay, thanks, Mike.
Stacy, got anything for Mike?
I do not.
Okay, we'll move on to Planning Director, Zoning Inspector, and Code Enforcement Officer Pete.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the month of July, there were 9 zoning permits issued and 2 miscellaneous permits. Fees collected for the month of January were $2,921. Year to date, we're at $71,615, which is well ahead of what we've been in the past. We have still part of the season left, the building season, so I foresee us actually bringing in substantial more this year. I plan on doing the end of the year mowing for the abated, on the abated properties, probably early September. And we're under budget as far as what we've already allotted for that, so we're all taking additional funds to complete it. And then, of course, the ones that we do mow, those fees get applied to their tax duplicate at the end of the year. That's all I have right now.
Bob, you have anything for Pete?
I do not, thank you, Pete.
Stacy, anything for Pete?
I do not.
Thank you, Pete. Appreciate it. Move on to Zoning Board of Commissioners and Zoning Board of Appeals. Pete, you want to take care of that?
Sure. The zoning commissioners provided feedback to the trustees regarding the Ohio issue 2 marijuana cannabis cultivators, processing dispensaries, from a workshop that we held back a month ago. It was an open meeting, there were no, it was publicized, it was going to be part of a discussion with no official action taken. Unfortunately, there were no one from the community attended. And also the third quarter regular meeting will be on September 9th, Monday, September 9th, right here at 6 p.m. Council Hall. That again is an open meeting. We invite anyone with information or suggestions as far as zoning is concerned to come take part in it. One more thing, just to add, the election's coming, and there are rules as far as elections or political signs. The only rules there are, they're not regulated, but they can't be obstructing traffic as far as view where they're placed, and especially at intersections, they can't obstruct the view going from one direction or the other. If they're supposed to be back at the edge of the right of way. The right of way from most of our streets is 30 feet from the center of the road, so that's about if they're 20 feet off the center of the road, that's a safe place for them, just for the obstruction. That's all.
Thank you. On the Parks and Recreation Board, Trustee Morelli is absent this evening. I guess I can give an update. We're in the process of receiving $300,000 from the state capital budget ask to be used towards Imagination Station. I did meet with Kurt Mole from the Cortland Community Foundation today, and I will be a member of the board there, so we can start doing some financial fundraising, because it's clear that $300,000 isn't going to be enough money. So in the future, I'll be getting with the park board to start some fundraising activities, so we can add to some of these monies. We did meet with Tiffany Paulzine about the playground, so we're in the process of meeting with vendors and trying to come up with the best financial solution for the replacement of Imagination Station. Bob, you got anything else you want to add to that?
I do not. No. I have a question here, but when we get to it.
Okay.
Well, I do have one question I will ask you. Do you like the square footage of the Imagination Station we have now and what we're looking to replace it with?
Yeah, she had the exact square footage,
Okay.
and that was
So
the,
we'll replace it by,
Yeah.
okay, so we're looking, okay.
the rendition that she drew up for us in 3D, she sent it all to us in emails, and it does have the exact same square footage.
Okay.
That she knew about that when we met with her.
Okay, I wanted to make sure. Okay.
I mean, the footprint is already there, and
Right.
we just feel much bigger.
Okay, well, I did at least the same size, that's what I was concerned about.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to resolution 097-24, resolution to amend the township park/cellar reservation rules and regulations to add under number 7, shall not, letter E, allow bounce houses, water slides, or other inflatable apparatuses on township park property.
Make a motion.
I'll second it. Take the vote. Trustee McBride?
Yes.
Trustee Hovis? Yes. Asked to be placed on the agenda was no one. We'll move on to public comment. We'll accept public comment at this time. If anyone has a question or a comment, raise your hand. The chairman will recognize you. State your name and address for the record. Multiple speakers at the same time will not be allowed. Anyone for public comment?
Go ahead. Sure. Excuse me. My name is Troy Rhodes. I'm with Ohio Edison First Energy. I am Lisa Taddy's replacement. So if you remember Lisa, she retired back in September. It was just formally announced that I'd be taking her place. For Trumbull County right now, I carry Trumbull, Mahoney, part of Portage, all of Columbiana, Stark, Carroll, and south of Columbiana County. So I've been doing this for about 8 years now up in the Mahoney Valley area up there. So I just picked up Lisa's territory. I've got business cards for you, just for my contact information. Just as a reminder, I'm here for you guys. If you have any questions relating to Ohio Edison First Energy on the person.
I do got a question for you.
Sure, we'll start with questions
Yeah,
first,
McClear Jacoby Road, we've had a lot of trees
I'm
coming
sorry?
down. McClear Jacoby Road.
okay?
Troy, I think I have you, I think I have your email, so I can send you
Yeah, I just sent
the
out.
letter I sent to, her last name was Bernie. I sent her a letter.
Bernie.
I sent her an email from the township here
Okay.
asking her to get someone out to look at the trees on McClear Jacoby Road, because every time there's a storm, seems to knock the power out there, and usually they're out for a couple days, and our residents are kind of getting worn out with that.
I can understand after last week. Okay, that person may be forestry.
Yeah, I believe she
Okay.
is.
Okay. So the person that's handling Trumbull County now is a gentleman by the name of James Bramer. Doesn't really matter much to you guys. It's just my contact. What I do is typically whenever there's any kind of forestry concerns, I was going to mention in the road department, just because you guys are out there and you observe some things, hopefully before it turns into an outage or something like that. Typically James will come out, he'll review that property or those trees in question and give an answer. Yes or no. I think one of the concerns that always comes up, well, a couple of things. One is it in our wires or is it in the comm? Is it in the phone wires, right? We don't touch those. That's unfortunately up to them, which means it's up to you
Sure.
to clear those ones because they're just not going to do that, right? But what we can do is give you the recommendations on that. And then we've got some kind of a trimming cycle that's going on. I'm not familiar with when Bazetta Township the next year or next cycle that we're on to do that. I'll get that information too as far as what cycle you guys are on. Sometimes if it's secondary wires, those are not a critical area as far as clearance. So they'll look at the trees, take an idea of whether it's a maple, whatever the tree is, and says, okay, the opportunity for the growth in the next 1 or 2 years, we'll worry about it then and not today. But we're not afraid to go out there and look at it and give you guys an answer on what the right is. One of the things with forestry, it's always a challenge, and you guys probably know this, but I'll just state it for the record, is that we own that space up there. We don't own the stump, the ground, anything in there. It's just our beautiful artwork that we do up at the top, the C's, the Y's, the B's, whatever letter that you want to call it, the U's, as far as trimming that around our secondary. But please, give me, if it's the whole road, to do a review on that, or if it's a street number, just pass that information on and I'll get somebody to take a look at it. Okay?
Mike, what about Howland, Wilson? We have a lot of trees come down up there. Is that on the power side? We did have some trees come down. They went across the street. Some subs or something came out for Ohio Edison, and they cleared the road and then threw the stuff into our right of way on the other side of the street, which we had to pay to have cleaned up. That I actually had the number. We had the number. They wouldn't come back and clean it up where it wasn't in our right of way before.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't put stuff in a right of way and leave it.
So where they put it is probably not the right place, but during storms, per our tariff, we don't have to clean that area, that trees. If we're doing any of our cycle work, it's up to us, it's our responsibility. When we're cutting and clearing, it gets back to the trees on the ground now, right? So what part of that tree is our responsibility, what part is yours?
Yeah.
It's a tug of war, trustee.
Well, I understand, because there's two people and it was just that, like I told them, I said,
Yeah.
Ohio Edison, sometimes it's cheaper to let the wire come down and then put it back together with the Chinese choker and be done with it. But Mike, up there on Howland Wilson, we seem to have quite a bit come down. Is that by where these wires are at, or is it the opposite side of the street?
I don't remember anything on how Wilson.
Is it Howland Wilson or Hen High?
That big oak came down. Not that high. But typically they clear the line that we cleaned up. This guy.
Yeah.
He just butchered it with such a mess that we couldn't.
So is this last week?
No, it's just
About a month or two ago.
So was it,
it was David Tree that did it.
so, but was it a,
From a storm.
okay, that's what I'm getting at. So it was a storm? Okay.
But yeah, I mean, normally they clear your lines and we go clean it up.
Yeah.
Which is so bad, so we don't have the equipment and the chipper to get rid of it now.
You know,
It was just it was taking us a month to clean
Okay.
So it's easier for us.
Well, and again, you know, Monday morning quarterback, right? So in the future, when those kind of situations, I'll make sure I get you one of my cards so you have that. Just call me and I'll send somebody out there to take a look at it. You know, just like last week, we had over 7,000 people in to take care of this storm between basically from Trumbull County all the way up to, you saw what was going on up in Cleveland there. So those were forestry crews, electricians, other utilities from AEP South, Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, and then mainline electric company was supporting us. So we're bringing in forestry crews too. So, you know, they're here one day and gone the next. So their role is to clear it, get it moving, not necessarily taking into account what it's doing to the community there. So, like I said, anytime, just give me a call.
Okay.
I'll run that down for you.
Appreciate
Okay.
that.
So that's the forestry part. That's always the easy part to talk about, right? So the storms, we talked about that. So my process during a storm is I work with the EMAs in the county. So whenever there's an issue, I keep John involved as far as what's going on, how we are managing it, and how we are handling the situation as far as the number of outages that occur. For you guys, last Wednesday morning, you're at about 600 people that are without power. By Wednesday morning, you're down to less than 50, I think was the number within the township. I keep John informed of that. As that goes on, that storm, when we're into day 5 and all of a sudden that 650 people that are out in Bazetta Township are only at 650, and then all of a sudden you start getting phone calls. Then that's when I'm starting to get involved. Day 3 with some communities, Kinsman, all but 5 people in that whole township was without power, you know, for 5 days almost. So that's when I'm talking to the trustees, because you're getting those calls. And I'm probably not going to give you good news, right? But at least we're communicating through that.
Sure.
But my main point is to get to the EMA because of the size of my territory and every EMA that I'm dealing with at the time. But I'm keeping him up to speed, and hopefully, whether it's through police or fire, he's passing that information down to you. I met with Tacey out of the 911 center, making her aware of things also. Let me suggest or recommend whenever a call comes in that you are requesting 911 service out there. What I spoke to Tacey about is that make sure when you're calling First Energy 911 desk to get that work request number. So once they get that work request number, they should forward that down to the requester, whoever that is, for you to track that number. Then you can call in and say, hey, I want to know what's going on with work order number 775 digits after that, right? The key to all of that is that we understand, I specifically understand that when you're calling that in and you have a road closure, you don't have the resources to stay on that road. So you barricade that down. You hope that within an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, Ohio Edison, either electric or forestry, gets in there to de-energize and clear that, so then you guys can get in and get there. But if nobody's letting you know that, that road's sitting closed forever. So with that work request number, you know, give it the time. Blue sky day, we should be able to get a response within 90 minutes to get something de-energized and cleared so that you guys can go in there and do that. At 91 minutes, call and find out. If it gets to be 2 hours, 3 hours, you've got my phone number. And just give me a call and I'll bird dog it down and find out what the delay is. But the key is that if you don't have somebody on site, and our guys happen to go in there because they're not calling to tell anybody, other than the dispatch office, that they're cleared and they're moving on to the next route or the next trouble, you know, that could sit there for 6 hours, right? And it was cleared in an hour and a half, and you could have been in there and opened that road back up. So it's just some open communications, working with Tacey on that, and she's supposed to be working with her dispatchers to be informed and educated on that. My thought on the process is once the initial call gets to our 911 and they get that work request number back, it goes back to the whoever requested, and then it's on them to follow up, not to go back to the 911, you know, because then you can get in through there and go that route. But Tacey said, call us and we'll handle it. So to help you through that. With the process, just so you know, critical assets first, hospitals, water treatment plants, large customers. So in other words, 69 kV goes down, 600 customers on that circuit. they're getting up before the 20 or the 10 or the 5. That's always the challenge out there for communities to understand that. We hope that we have got what is considered under our criteria as far as a critical list of what those critical 911 centers, fire department, township trustee, you guys are a C, the building. But the fire department or the police department associated with it, guilt by association, lucky you guys, you become now an A or a B as far as criticality. Seasonal, schools, right? Elections, Board of Election offices. If it's on election day, that becomes a priority. If it's not, it's stuck down to C unless it's in one of those locations that bumps that up to a critical way. But that's the key to the process. I looked out at you guys' website. You have a phenomenal website for a township, so kudos to you. What I didn't see on there was anything that says for utility information, like who to call for dig in. You know, if you have questions with your gas company, if you have questions with your cable company, if you have questions with your electric company, what I can provide you is some electronic documents that you can tag to that talks about who to call, how to report a street light, right? All of that kind of stuff. I can send you those. I don't know who to send it to, but send that to you electronically, and then you can incorporate that onto your website. That may save you guys some time, and it'll help your community out as far as keeping them educated on that. So any questions on the storm process or anything like that?
Nope.
Okay.
Very helpful.
Street lights. So you guys got 180 of them. They're under the ESIP rate. You got a phenomenal rate on that. You have 182 total ones of POL. So I don't know, somewhere you got an outdoor area light up. Typically those are maybe over here by your trash, your recycling, or sometimes it's in front of one of the PD.
Right out
Okay.
there, right there.
Other than that, you 181, it's under the ESIP program. I don't know if ESIP talked to you about LED conversion or anything like that. I do not recommend it for you guys because it's gonna cost you more. So stay ESIP until they pry it out of your hands, which is probably gonna happen within 2 or 3 years because we're running out of anything other than LED bulbs. There's some rate cases right now that are going on down in Columbus. Hopefully they'll come to some kind of an agreement on that by this time next year. And then probably there'll be some kind of a program out there to convert all ESIP streetlights to LED. And at that time, hopefully there's going to be some credits that will help offset some of the pain as far as when those LED lights go on. But just so you, I mean, you guys have been under the same ESIP rate for 15 years as far as what you're paying for those. So if you're thinking about going LED, the only place that I would recommend in an ESIP community to go LED is if you have a section of business district that you want to lighten up, and you can do that. You can do that with those 5 or 7 lights or 10 lights that you want to, and you keep the balance of them under the ESIP rate. So it's just, sometimes it maybe makes sense to pay that little bit more for whatever you're trying to open up there for your community from a lighting standpoint. In reporting those street lights, it's not so much of an issue on your rural streets because normally the Mr. and Mrs. out there on those know that that street light's in front of their house. They call it in and they understand that they've got to give their account information because that's how they identify that. Then they put hopefully if you've got either the street name or the street address directly in front of the post light or the number on the street light tag to post that. What I would recommend is both, if at all possible, if not closest, but truly tie a yellow ribbon around it and identify that when you call that in. It says, hey, it's the light with the yellow ribbon on it in front of 123 Walk Street, right? So that'll help facilitate that there. The challenge is on your main thoroughfares where the residents aren't there and nobody knows. They drive by at night, see that light out and say, oh, the trustees are gonna call that in. The trustees are all somebody else's. That's the challenge, is getting those more commercial oriented lights, and communities do it differently. Some of the trustees are in their car, that's what they do on Sunday nights when they're bored, or the Browns are losing, one of the two, right? Or
We make our police do it.
you make the police do it and then they turn them in like that. And that's a process in itself. There's a form that I can get you if you haven't done it in a while and you do a big flood of it. I've got an electronic form again, I'll send it to you. You write them down. I need 10 or more, you send them to me and I'll get them entered. So you don't have to call and go through that whole process. I'm here to help you and support that kind of issue there. Storm, street lights, 4th Street. That's what I got.
Let me ask you one question. On the cans that's up on top of the poles that reduces the power, those gray round cylinder that the wires are going into,
Oh,
They
transform.
transformer, that, they used to have a little red light on them. If that red light was on, that, I was told like 20 years ago that that light on it, it's, needs to be replaced. Is that true or not?
That's a new one.
Okay.
Troy, thank you.
Yep.
Before, one other question I got to ask you.
Mike, is it the DM?
Yeah, you can send those links for our website through Deanna. Make sure that they get on there.
She's your web.
Administrative secretary.
Okay. I've got more cards, guys. The one that you just reminded me of something. So the other thing is zoning. Any issues that you have if you're doing a demo or anything like that, tearing a house down, make sure you call us in and give us at least 7 working days to get somebody out to make sure that that house is de-energized. And just so you know, and it's probably not a big issue here as it is in the cities, Ohio Edison doesn't verify that Mrs. Jones owns that house when they set up service. So squatters happens all the time in the cities where they just make themselves at home in that house. We're not qualifying if, you know, if they're gonna put down the payment, we're gonna accept the money. And then all of a sudden we gotta go through a whole nother process to get them out of that house, or excuse me, to get that house de-energized, because if they're paying their bill, we're not gonna stop it. The only thing we can use is a letter from the agency or the attorney to say, hey, this is a squatter, we have the right to remove the power into this house. So that's always a challenge out there when those things go on, especially if you're working with the land banks, because the land bank sets those things up 5 months in advance. They identify the house in the fall, spring, but they don't tear it down in the fall, and somebody finds it in between that area. So, anything else for me?
No.
Okay.
Troy, very informative.
Yep,
Thank you
sorry to
very
take
much.
up the time. I've got some other stuff here I'll leave for you guys too.
Yeah, can you just address the Claire's Cody for us?
Yeah, I will. I've got that on my, I'll just leave this up here for you guys.
Do you have that Forster's guys number you could give us?
I cannot.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm being honest.
That's a hot number.
Yeah, it is. So is mine. So mine is for you guys too. Thank you.
Thank you, Troy. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's not the clergy code that you got wrong the other time, right? There was
Pleasure.
something in the past where it wasn't the clergy code, but it was, like Dodgeville or something. Wherever that was. Something else in the
Come on up.
problem, but it wasn't actually
Come on
the
up.
clergy
You can go
code.
next.
Okay, Rick Fleischer, 2238 Cornerstone Drive. I'm glad that Mike was on top of this thing about the electricity. I'm a resident right off McCleary Jacoby, and I can tell you that the neighbors are all pretty frustrated with the loss of electricity. Many of them have put in whole house generators, and I know of 2 more that are gonna do that, and I'm considering that myself, but that's a major outlay of at least $10,000.
Please.
Yeah. And I'm glad the gentleman's here from Ohio West. I think he gave us some good answers and pointed us in the right direction. But I just wanted to kind of show up tonight and sort of represent the residents of the area. As I drove down McCleary Jacoby on the way here, I see all kinds of limbs on the wires and vines and everything else on the west side of the road where the power runs. And I just came to ask the trustees if there's anything we can do to improve that situation. That's all I have.
Yeah, I did send a letter to them, and we'll just wait and see what kind of results we get.
Okay.
They do go on a cycle, like the gentleman said, where every 4 years or so, they trim for their own, the top 2 wires, the primary and secondaries, but they're not gonna trim for the telephone and the cable. It's down on the last 2. on there, but they're only gonna turn, when they have to. I mean, we can't pay to have it done. That's,
All I know is it goes out pretty often, even when the weather's good. We had a sunshiny day one day, all of a sudden the power's out. And so it doesn't even have to be a storm situation.
well, they're gonna come over and address that now to look at that.
Okay,
So that's gonna be happening.
all right.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Milligan?
Three things. My name is Mike Ulrich, 3434 State Route 5. Over there. Did the majority of Bazetta electors, people that vote against cannabis? They did? Okay, this, zoning meeting you had for issue 2, was it like on the sign up front in the Tribune, or was it on your website? And did it mention cannabis?
The meeting,
Yes,
regular meetings, it's posted on a sign when the zoning commission meets. It'll give you the date and the time of when the meeting will be. The itinerary is not posted on the sign, it would be flashing all day long. But those things are placed, I think it was placed in the township, like Facebook?
so online.
There would be discussion, but that's all it was discussion amongst the board members. There was no formal action taken, they didn't vote for or against it. There was basically a gathering of information, hopefully from those that may attend.
Does it say there though that are we allowed to grow our private kind?
Yes, this ban is only for dispensaries.
Oh,
The
okay,
township voted against allowing dispensaries to open within the township.
okay.
So that doesn't affect your personal rights to grow or use recreational marijuana.
Give it away? Do I have to ask for sales tax if I give it away?
No.
Oh, good.
But actually giving it away is actually still against the law.
Why?
You can grow it for your personal use, but you can't provide it to anyone else.
Why? Where does it
I
say
have to
that?
ask, you'll have
What's
to ask
that
the
in
state
the,
senators that.
when I voted for it?
Pardon me?
When I voted for it,
You voted for the right, for your use and your ability to grow it for your personal use. That's why you're only limited to so many plants per person, per household. So that you cannot provide it to someone else. According to the federal government, it's still a controlled substance.
Pardon?
The federal government looks at it, it's still a
Right.
controlled substance. But you have the right, you voted for that, to blaze up if you'd like to.
I'm thinking when I retire, I might add it to my chamomile,
You're what?
my tea.
Absolutely.
Okay,
It has its medicinal benefits. That's
Right.
why they have medicinal marijuana.
that's why the pharmaceutical companies got rid
Some
of it.
brownies and have a great night.
That's why the pharmaceutical companies got rid of it. My third question is, for all this, for the 300,000 is not gonna be enough for your imagination station. Maybe consider the sales tax you'll get from there, for cannabis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment?
Two more.
Ma'am? Go ahead.
Good evening. Ashley Henrich, Superintendent of Lakeview Local Schools. Just took over on August 1st, but I wanted to get here as soon as possible and put a face with the name for you guys. My grandfather was a Champion Township trustee for 24 years, so it's near and dear to my heart what you do and how you serve the community and what small-town government can do for people. I appreciate that. But looking forward to working with you and your efforts to support the Bazetta community. I know Sunday we had a kindergarten meetup at Imagination Station for our incoming kiddos to meet friends and parents to meet each other. So anything I can do to help you and to serve and support the students of Portland and Bazetta, looking forward to doing that and hoping that I can talk to you before you leave tonight about snow days. So, but that's all. Just wanted to.
Who was your grandfather?
Adrian Kovanik.
Oh, really?
Yes, that was
Yeah,
my grandfather.
Yeah, I know his sons too.
Yeah, yeah.
I lived in Champion for 20 years.
Very good. Cool. Thank you so
Thank
much.
His name?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Schroeder, 4049 Lakeshore Drive. I have a question, please. I talked to your police sergeant there. We had some, shall we say, fireworks, not fireworks, actual weapons at the end of Everett Hall Road late at night. And I called Bazetta Police Department on their regular line that says, Bazetta Police Department. And it said, well, business hours are such and such. And if you want to talk to somebody, then you got to hang up and you got to call another number. Okay, and then I didn't do that, but I just find it odd in this day and age why it can't go from, at the end of business turn to a cell phone or something that goes to the OIC and go automatically trip over to him or her, and the police officer, you'd have access to a police officer without hanging up, dialing another number, going through all this whatever. I just don't understand why it couldn't just be very easy. Call forwarding, boom, it's done. And you have access to a police officer at their discretion, okay, to whether they answer the phone or not, because if they have other duties, then yes, then call, 911 or something or other. But you should have easy access to a Bazetta police officer on an off turn or off when the business is closed. It just call forwarding should not be an issue. Cell phone, boom, the OIC's got it. Yes, can I help you? And it's done.
Yeah, I think it's what we prefer people are doing, Stan, especially in a situation like that. We prefer you down 911. That's what we
Yeah, but
pay
it's
for.
not an emergency. It's
Well,
not
I
an
mean,
emergency.
if you're hearing gunfire, that's an emergency.
You said in the middle of the night.
And it's the middle of the night, that's a 911 call, 100%.
Yeah.
So, then the key about you calling 911 is that officer's gonna get dispatched over a radio that every other policeman can hear. So, and we all know when surrounding communities hear those type of calls, those officers are automatically, maybe not responding with emergency lights and stuff like our guys might be responding, but they are
Backing up.
starting to float towards that area. So if there is an emergency, we have the people there. That's why it's very important for people to be dialing 911.
Yeah, because
I mean, the rule of thumb is if you had to think about it, you should already dial 911.
Yeah, well, like I say, I wasn't concerned because, well, I was concerned because I'm assuming, it's an assumption, that they were firing towards the water, the way the vehicles were setting and the way the people that were standing out.
Yeah.
And like I say, it wasn't fireworks. Come
Well,
on,
it was
guys.
dark though.
Yeah.
Well, especially in that area,
Yeah.
there's only one way in there and one way
Yeah,
out. So
Populated area.
And I just thought it just seemed like it doesn't flow, it's not flowing correctly.
Well, that.
Like I say, 911, yes, 911 is very important. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. But yes, it is an emergency in a roundabout sort of way. It's not life-threatening or anything else as far as I know. But it should have been easily accessible to have an officer that, if nothing else, take a drive-by, see what's going on.
But they would have did that if you called 911 though.
Yeah.
The thing
Well,
is,
then, yeah,
he-
911, then you got this guy thinking that, hey, we're going into a war zone.
well, and that's good to think that
Yeah,
way,
but
because a lot of
this
people
way
get killed
here,
or not.
it could be like an impromptu drive down, turn the lights on.
Yeah.
They're gone.
we have the business number for people to get reports and maybe talk to, an officer during the daytime.
Yeah, but nothing at night, nothing after
Wait,
what, 4
yeah.
o'clock, 4:30?
At night, you should be down the 675-2730 number.
That doesn't come up on the internet. If you look up Bazetta Township Police Department, that's not the number that comes up.
You could call the Trumbull Dispatch, it's a 675 number.
2730.
Yeah, and if and then they can decide whether it's gonna be a 911 call or not. but you could do that. But I mean, if it was me and I hear the shots and it's dark out, you don't know what direction they're firing, I'd be calling 911. I don't like to use that number either.
Yeah.
I think it's for emergency, but-
911 to me, it means
Yeah.
somebody's on the ground. Yeah.
Well, that's an emergency. You don't know if someone else might be on the ground.
Yeah.
You said you
Could be,
didn't know.
Could be, but like I say, in this particular instance.
Yeah.
There's,
As a taxpayer, you're gonna get billed for that either way,
Not you.
our community.
Yes.
So
Better be
we'd
safe
rather
than
get down
sorry.
911.
Yeah.
okay, well, I got people firing firearms down the end of the street. Whatever. Thank you.
Thank you.
Doing a good job.
Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment? Okay. 098-24, resolution to adjourn the meeting at 7:50 PM.
Make the motion.
Second it. Take the vote. Trustee McBride,
Yes.
trustee Hovis, yes.
All I have to do is,
Hey, Nathan, I'd like to talk to you for a minute.